Hello and welcome to another episode. Thank you so much for being here. And if you are new, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Today we are talking about the number one thing that you need to navigate your healing, to navigate ascension. Because in order for us to ascend in the way that we want to and in the way that we want humanity to ascend, we are always going to be going through different cycles of healing, because the healing comes before the energetic shift and the energetic embodiment of the next level and layer that we need to be in order to step into that higher frequency. So there's always that cycle of, where do I want to be? What's my next step into ascension? And what do I need to release and let go of in order to step into that higher frequency? So it doesn't matter where you are on your journey or how much healing you've already done, or how, even if you're looking at other people going, wow, they're, successful and they're happy and they've got abundance in all these areas, but they are still having to heal layers of stuff within them, beliefs, and let go of things that are no longer serving them in order to then continue to ascend into the next level of abundance. And the same with you, right? So if you're wanting to step into new ways of being and level up in that ascension and embody more of that fifth dimensional frequency and just become the person that you really came here to be and do the things that you came here to do, there is always going to be another level and layer of healing that you need to go through. And so let's just talk about that one thing that is really going to help you move through the healing and move through the cycles and step into a flow in that ascension process. And that is connection. And that is connection to your intuition, connection to your emotions, to your energy, to your spirit team, connection into your body. And it's so important because it's that intuition and that connection that will lead you to how to heal the next thing, the meditation that you need, the type of healing that you need, maybe the practitioner to go to help you collapse a limiting belief or to get into more of that changing those neural pathways. It will lead you to the next book, the next podcast, or YouTube video that you need to just trigger and activate that next level of healing within you, and to help clear that so that you can then embody that next frequency for you to step into. So let's talk about intuition first. I mean, most of us know about intuition, right? And we all have it. Intuition is not some random rare gift that, only special people have. We all have intuition. It's our internal navigation system. It's the thing that we were given here to help us do this, okay? That's what it was given to us for, to help us to follow what feels right, what feels in line with us. But the thing is, most of us don't do that. Either we don't trust it, we don't listen to it, we don't even, a lot of us know what it actually feels like within us. And there's so many times when, somebody said to me, oh, I don't have intuition, and then they'll explain something and like this thing happened and then I felt this way and I felt this go through my body, or I just had this inkling or this knowing. And I'm like, well, that's what your intuition is. I think a lot of people who haven't studied it a lot, just also have studied it a lot, just think that it's this big massive hit of something that they're going to get. But because it's something that's actually so ingrained in us and something that's so natural to us, we don't realize that that's what our intuition actually is. So yeah, it's those gut feelings and it's the trust that you have in yourself, but it's the understanding of, like I was just talking about, of how you receive the information. And so this is when we get into those clairs. So, do you see, do you, in your mind's eye, do you feel it through your body, in your physical body, in your emotion? Do you get tingles? Do you get like a heavy feeling? Do you, like I said, feel certain emotions? That's all part of intuition. Do you actually hear things? Do you get a lot of signs on the outside in the physical world, in that third dimensional frequency? Do you, are you really good at saying, okay, well, if this is the right thing for me, can you please show me a feather or a frog or whatever it is? And and getting your information in that way. So it's really learning to understand, okay, so when I have this knowing, what does it feel like to me, and to really start developing that. Now, we all have all of these clairs. So it's not like, okay, you only just have one and that's it, it's, one's given out and that's it. We have all of them, and it's working on expanding all of them, but there will be a couple that that feel a lot easier to you, that feel a lot stronger. So it's just going into a development of those clairs and expanding them, because they're already there, right? It's just expanding them and learning to do that. So also with your intuition, there's a lot of, it's about the solar plexus center, and I've had the intuition come in, and the messages coming from my guides that next year is a lot about us starting to stand in our power as we wrap up and we go into this 9-year. So I know that's something individually for me that's going to be sort of at the forefront of my healing a lot. But I think it also goes, the message that I've been getting is that for a lot of people and a lot of my community, this is kind of the stage that we're at, to really step into that solar plexus energy. The solar plexus energy is that bridge between where we are now into that fifth dimensional frequency, because the solar plexus is a fourth dimensional frequency, and it's where all our healing is needed. It's where we find our sovereignty and our power, and where we, it governs how we show up in the world. But because we've got that's where all our limiting beliefs and all our healing is needed. That's where it all kind of sits, in that frequency, stepping into work in that fourth dimensional frequency, into the solar plexus, connecting into your intuition, getting that sovereignty back, standing in your power and in the stability of who you are and who you came here to be, so that you can really start moving forward in your ascension and, helping with the ascension of the planet. So it's really, connecting into that intuition, understanding what intuition feels like to you, and really starting connecting to your soul self or your higher self, and learning what she feels like or he feels like, and learning to just embrace the knowledge and knowing that you have within. And I would suggest that if you haven't done any work on connection before, or even if you have actually, to start connecting to your soul self first. Start connecting to what's closest, your body, your energy, your soul self or higher self, before you start connecting to something outside of self. Because the unfortunate thing that has happened within the spiritual community is, pulling on my own hair, that's happened in the spiritual community is that we've started this hierarchy between ourselves and guides and angels. And we have this thing that guides and angels know more than us, they understand more than us, they're better than us. And it's actually not true. And your soul self knows just as much and is just as connected to why you are here and the things that you need than your guides and angels, right? They're their guides. Just take that word. They're here to guide you if you are not listening to that. So the more that you sort of are listening to your inner self, connecting into your body, your energy, and your soul self, connecting with your future self, I'm not saying that those guides aren't there and they're not going to help you, but, it's more of a collaboration rather than them telling you or guiding you into what you should be doing. So that's why I suggest that, you start connecting to your own energy and your own soul self first before you start reaching outwards. Because one of the biggest things that we've got into as humans is to search for information and knowing outside of self, rather than starting with our own intuition and our own knowing about who we are. So yeah, really connecting into that soul self and the way that you gather information. So the next thing is really learning to tap into your emotions and connect to your own emotions, which is something that a lot of us have learned not to do. In our upbringing, we're told that our emotions are silly, that why are you feeling that way? That's, you don't need to feel that way about that, or of course you don't feel like that, or we're made to believe that the way that we feel about a certain situation or something that happens to us is wrong, or our feelings are bad, because if we're angry or we're, frustrated and we're getting upset about something in, more of that anger way, then that's wrong and we're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to be angry. And so we end up, again, looking on the outside for people to tell us what our emotions are. But we also obviously repress them and don't learn to work with them and understand them. So really learning to every day connect into how you're feeling, especially as you're healing, as things are coming up for you. You may wake up one day feeling sadness or grief or even anger and frustration, because, obviously as you heal, that emotional part of self needs to heal too. And so just really learning to actually honor them and feel them, because we get into that situation of, well, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to feel this. Or it's just too painful to feel it, whatever it is that's happening. But the more that you learn to acknowledge and sit with your emotions, and we did talk about, I can't remember whether I talked about this on socials or whether it was part of a podcast recently, but about just really learning to sit with your emotions and allow yourself to hold space for them, which means we're sitting in a space within a meditation where we can actually, and you don't have to be deep in meditation, but a space where we can actually feel the emotion but not allow it to consume our entire energy field. So we can actually begin to feel the sadness, the grief, the anger. And what I like to do is just imagine it coming. I feel it as much as I can. I turn it right up on the dial. And with me, I feel it come into the front of my chest, and I see it as a ball, and then I take that ball outside of my energy field, but still with an attached, like a cord attached, so that I can actually feel the emotion still, but it's not consuming my entire energy field. That way I'm allowed to kind of become more of the observer of it, and I can feel into it, and I can accept it, and I can honor it. And then I just turn up the dial so I feel it as strongly as I can, and then it starts to sort of dissipate and it starts to leave and it moves through, and I allow it to transmute. And so it's getting to really understand how to hold space for those emotions and to honor those and to connect into them, so that you actually know where you're at, rather than doing what we've learned to do, which is ignore them, suppress them, pretend they're not there. So really getting to learn to, to connect to your emotions is important. So the next thing is your own energy field. And this is really, really important also to do before you start trying to connect to guides and angels, because if you're not aware of your own energy field and what that space feels like and how you play in that, you can be letting anyone in and out. And this is where discernment comes in. Yeah. So, and especially with intuition too, if you starting to want to connect to beings outside of self, whether it be guides and angels, if you don't have discernment and you don't trust your intuition, you're just going to believe any old energy that comes into your field and what they're telling you to do. And again, that's where hierarchy can be dangerous, okay? So because there are beings out there, and especially at this point in time where we're at war, so to speak, and there are beings out there who pretend to be light who aren't. And so, yeah, you really need to get into that understanding your own energy and your intuition for that discernment, so that when something comes into your field, you actually have the trust and faith in your intuition to go, hang on, you don't feel right to me, or the tone that you're bringing through in those words doesn't feel right to me. And so you can, sort of just be a little bit more aware of that. So tuning into your own energy, I like to, just sit again in stillness and just feel what's going on in my field. Does it, how's it feeling today? Sometimes you can feel a little bit off tilt and need to sort of get back on your axis. You might feel heavier in some parts of your energy, like it may feel a little denser in certain spaces around your body. And then again, so as that healing's coming up, we can say, okay, well, what's happening here? What's affecting this? Is there an emotion here? Is there a cord here? And then start to use your intuition to guide you into what the answer to that question might be. So really getting to, learn your own energy field and connect into that is important. So the next is your spirit team then. So connecting into that spirit team so that you do have that extra guidance, because there are times when you are so in it and can't see the forest for the trees, that you do actually, sort of need a little bit of outside help. But again, I would practice on your own intuition and learning discernment and what your energy field feels like, before you dive right into just opening up for anyone to come and talk to you. Like, you really need to be intentional and specific about the who you want to connect to for your highest good, and making sure that your space is clear and that you've asked everybody to move out of your space so that messages don't get distorted. So, there is a lot involved in it, and especially at this time, like I said, and it's, one of those things. I mean, I used to have this belief that talking to guides and angels and talking to crossed over loved ones was sort of like a game, and it was this, I think I talked about this in the intro episode. It was sort of like a party trick. That's what it was. It wasn't something, it was, just something that people did and didn't kind of realize and understand the importance of connection and connection with other beings, and really discerning, my energy and something else's. And so we want to keep it light and we want to keep it fun because they love that and respond to that, but also understand that there are other things out there. And I'm not saying this to scare you guys. I just want you to be aware. Yeah. So we've got spirit team in all different dimensions, and there are different levels of that. So you have aspects and levels and layers of you that are running parallel lives, that are in different places right now in different dimensional frequencies. And they are usually the ones that are closest to you, that are giving you and passing you the most information. And you're here to pass information to them too. And this is what I'm saying about the hierarchy. Like, when you're talking about aspects of self in these different dimensions, they're passing perspective to you to help you in this lifetime, but you're actually also passing perspective to them, right? You're part of the same, you're fractals of the same energy. And so you're passing things onto them as much as they're passing things onto you. And they're usually the ones that you connect into and speak to first, because they're closest to your energy. They are part of you. And then there's other spirit guides and angels and other helpers. And, we've all got different contracts with different beings. And so I can't sit here and go, well, everybody has, these guides and this many guides for these reasons, because some of people out there may only have one. Some people might have 100 for things that, they're going to go through. So yeah, really learning to connect into your spirit team. And I like to do that with energy first, and encourage you to do that with energy first. So to make sure you know your own energy, clear out your energy space, and just ask one of your guides, who's here for you for the highest good, to just gently step into your field. So you imagine your field around you, and just imagine them to gently come into your field and just touch it so you can feel how the energy changes. This is why it's important to know your energy first and what that feels like, so that you can notice the difference when something comes into your field. And it's all practice. It's all doing this as often as you can so that you build up that muscle. So getting to know your guides, your angels, your spirit team, aspects of self, and connecting into that, because they are going to help guide you, like I said, through your healing when you can't see the forest for the trees and you are going to need a little bit of extra help, or and have different things drop in when you're kind of a little bit lost and don't know where you're at. So yeah, connecting into them is really important. And then lastly, connecting into your body, the barometer of the soul, as the saying goes, as the book suggests. So, your body is always talking to you, always giving you information about, where you may have trapped energy and healing, where emotions are stuck, where you've got cords plugged in. But also we need to remember, and this gets forgotten a lot about once we go into awakening and healing, that your body is part of your humanness and your spirituality. We are body, mind, emotion, and spirit. It's not let's all be spiritual and heal our emotions and then forget about our physical body. Your physical body is the vessel that you have to do what you came here to do in this lifetime. And if you are not looking after it, if you are not tuning into it, if you are not listening to its wants and needs, then you are going to struggle. And a lot of ascension symptoms are because your body struggles integrating the light that it's, getting from the healing into the cells of the physical body. You've got to remember, when we heal something and we shift our frequency, it goes through all levels and layers: spiritual, emotional, mental, physical. And if your physical body is struggling, it is going to have trouble integrating. That's when, you go through healing and you get a cold or a flu or a stomach bug or, gastro, or, another diagnosis about something else. It can be having trouble really integrating the light that you are trying to get in. So it really is important to look after that on a physical level. Ask your body, if it's not feeling great, what do you need? And it might be that you just need to drink more water, or just go to bed half an hour earlier, stop scrolling on your phone when you get into bed. Are your basic needs met? Are you getting sleep, good nutrition and water and movement into your life and into your daily routine? And I know that it's not the thing that people want to think about, and it's like, but it is very, very important. We are human beings, and our humanness is part of our spirituality. And I know that there's, it gets into this big thing in the spiritual community where, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, which is correct. But when I was talking to one of my Pleiadian aspects of self, and she was like, we don't walk around saying, oh, I'm a spiritual being having a Pleiadian experience. We're just Pleiadian beings, and we are just human beings, and our humanness is part of our spirituality. It's not separate from it. And I think what we've managed to do, what's been forced into us in a way, is that separation between our soul and our spirit and our physical body and our humanness. So it's making sure that we're really having all of those things working together. So the body is really, really important in that. So this is how we navigate our healing, you guys. The number one thing we can do is to just start getting connected into all of those things. And it doesn't have to be a big process or a big ritual. It can be as much or as little as you like. But like I said, just recapping on that cycle of healing, the healing comes up, and we need to use that connection into our body, mind, emotion, spirit, into our spirit team, our intuition, so that we can ask, okay, well, what is it that I need? And then you're guided into that. And this is where the flow and the ease comes in healing and ascension. Because if you don't have the tools and you don't have that intuition, you don't have that connection to be guided into what it is that your healing needs, your body needs, your energy needs on a day-to-day basis, then you're going to get stuck, and it's going to be really hard to get your way through it. So with that cycle of healing, using that intuition, connecting into how it is that you receive information, and starting to really work and expand on that, really learning to connect into your higher self, making sure that that's the first place that you go, and cutting out that hierarchy between the fact that, guides know more than me, angels know more than me, they're better than me because they're higher beings. We're all in this together. And like I said, especially when we're talking with aspects of self, we're passing on information to each other. We're all just as important in each other's existence, and fulfilling those contracts are important. But yeah, we're all the same in a way. I don't think many alien collectives think that, but but when it comes to our guides, our angels, and our aspects of self, we're all a little bit closer in that. So connecting into that intuition, expanding on your clairs, connecting to your higher self, connecting into your emotions and learning how to hold space for those, connecting into your own energy, into your spirit team, and into your body, and learning how to use all of those to roll through that healing, so that it's a lot easier for you. And just making sure, when we get this connection, I mean, this is another podcast that I will talk about with intuition, but it's really making sure that you're taking action. The amount of people that say to me, I've been pulling this same card, or I've been getting this same message to, let's say, walk in nature, and I keep getting it. I keep getting the same thing all the time. And my first question is, well, have you actually done that yet? If you either not getting any intuition hits, or you feel like your guides and angels have stopped talking to you, or you keep pulling the same card over and over again, I ask you, have you done the thing? Because again, it's we need to bring it into the 3D. We need to take the action and do the things. So if you are not doing it, if you've been pulling a card that keeps saying, go into nature, go into nature, go into nature, and you haven't done that yet, why don't you go into nature? Go and sit in your back garden, get your feet on the grass, go for a walk in the forest or at the beach, and actually do that, because what your body might be calling for is a connection into that second dimensional frequency or into the earth, and it's going to help to balance you out and shift something. That's why the information's coming through to you. You've asked, how can I get through this situation, or how can I do whatever? And they're telling you, but then you're not actually doing it. And for some of you, your intuition's not going to continue, and your guides and angels aren't going to continue to keep giving you the same message if you're not listening, because sometimes we have to do one thing before we can move on to the next. So I also just ask you, are you doing the things? Anywho, that's me for today. If you have any questions, you can always email me or get onto me through Insta at Hayley_Hughes224. Leave a comment. And any experiences of how you receive information, or any guides that you've connected to, or any troubles that you're having, because I'm sure that, like happens most of the time, something that you're dealing with or struggling with, there are going to be hundreds of other people out there asking the same question and dealing with the same thing. So it's nice for everybody to not feel alone when you give a little bit of insight into where you're at or what helps you to move through your healing. Anywho, have a wonderful week, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.